Well, thank you so much, ma'am. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, and thank you again for the invitation to be on the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is. I mean, we're privileged to have you on, and thank you for your commitment. On a Friday, I know we can count on you. Mr. Bob wanted to be here, but he had some challenges, and but I know he's watching the show from where he's at. He would
Okay.
have joined you because you guys kind of work very well together. So
Yeah.
he was going to be on tonight. But Apostle, we have been talking on the show tonight about the public sector and how people are being treated, how workers are being treated, how employees are being treated. And I can't help remember forget I can't help but remember 1937 when through the riots that were held in 1937, what we saw happening is a lot of laws, labor laws, were put in place to protect workers. But here we are, it's 2025. We're seeing millions of dollars poof just being spent around us,
Right.
lots of money being spent in crop over,
Right.
to put up the amphitheater and so on. But now, days later, about a week later, we have Carrie Festa, where we're
Right.
told it's a millions being spent, but yet
Yeah.
still the
Yeah.
prison officers, sir, who worked in COVID and were told that they
Yeah.
were going to be paid
Yeah.
for the service they did in COVID. The police service, members of the police service
Right.
are owed money.
Yes. Yes.
As a you're a minister and for better words, I say religion, but you're a man of
Yes,
faith.
ma'am.
Where is the justice in this? I want to just take it away, sir.
Um, I, I'm just going to, just throw my best punches here tonight. The reality is that, number one, this administration lied openly about what they just needed to get the job done that COVID was designed to do. That's all.
Mm,
And
mm.
they got everyone to buy into their propaganda. They got everyone because of the fear that was widespread about COVID and people dying from COVID and all of these different things that really got individuals on the edge. And they harnessed that fear. They harnessed the fact that Barbadians are people that traditionally will bite the bullet and do what's necessary to safeguard their nation during a pandemic like that. Um, and so many individuals put their lives on the line
Mm-hmm.
for something um, that now we realize that it was a huge hoax in the midst of everything. We had, matter of fact, even some of the very own uh, COVID unit people still haven't been paid. Those
Really?
individuals, some of them haven't gotten their monies either. To running around harassing Barbadians and still did not get monies. That $500 did not go to every individual. I know persons who worked during COVID who did not get the $500 and the little button that they were giving out. So a lot of this that we're seeing, you can see that there's really no commitment of the government to follow through on their word. And we saw that even with the four young men that came forward to the media and said we entered into an agreement with the administration. We kept our word, but they did not keep their word.
Yes.
So it's going to be very difficult for, probably after watching this show, all of a sudden the monies may show up. But they know how to manipulate the masses. They know very well how to do what they do. And when you look at the reality of this, you just had crop over millions of dollars, and then right after that, you jump right into Carrie Festa again with all of these things. So it's a lot of distraction that's really going on. But I have to say this, and I have to be, um, unless the prison officers and those individuals within the police service and all of the nurses, all of the military staff, all of the individuals, even the very COVID unit people, if they don't get legal representation, they're not going to get that money from the government. Because COVID is over now, going into 4 years. So, seriously, to 4 years after this thing is over, that we still have to be looking for money is crazy. But the fact that they're talking about it should send a very clear message to the government, and it should send a very clear message to Barbadians that this administration cannot be trusted. Okay? So if you're going to put so many people at risk during COVID and don't compensate them, this is a very serious matter. Very serious matter that I think Barbadians need to understand. And there's still so many people out there that would put their necks to the chopping block for this administration. But take a look at what they're doing, or what they've been doing to individuals who went out there during COVID and did what they had to do because they believed that this government was really trying to protect Barbados. And it's what, half a million?
I was muted. Believe the word of the government. That's the thing. And we've been showing Barbadians time and time again, Apostle Scantlebury, that the government cannot be trusted. We have been showing this to you. Look at what's happening. These are protective service providers. Hundreds in the protective services are still without long promised COVID-19 pandemic pay and allowances. They are owed up to $500,000.
$500,000.
I mean, the estimated budget for Carifesta is $4 million, our tax-paying money that was blowing up before our eyes. And they couldn't take up $500,000 to pay the prison officers.
Come on.
Think about it.
I have to go back, and we have to thank God for individuals like yourself and Mr. Franklin, who at the time was in Parliament, and when he caught the change of the word from spouse to partner, and all of these are things that are being done secretly, surreptitiously, to undermine the good governance that the people of Barbados should receive. And as I said, we're not going to know everything, but the day has to come when we see the back of this administration, and only then we are going to find out all of the things that they have signed on to and why they have to function the way they're functioning. I personally know that they're not coming up with anything. They're following somebody else's agenda, and they're especially Africa's agenda, because many of them now believe that Africa needs to colonize Barbados. I'm not in favor of that at all. Okay, I think Barbadians and Barbados needs to charter a course towards a vision where its people can be blessed and prosperous and successful. But when you see this reality of a government making promises and not fulfilling their promises, they just like to tell you that a promise is a comfort to a fool. So evidently our police officers and our prison officers, our nurses, and all of these individuals, they're fools because they chose to believe the word of a government that has proven to them that they cannot and they will never fulfill their word. If you cannot, my dad told me as a little boy, he says, if you can't keep your word, you're not a man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? My biological father told me that. He said, you're only as good as your word. Okay?
Correct.
And now that we have come to a place where we've seen that this administration cannot keep its word, then my personal belief is that it's time for them to go. We cannot have those kind of people leading us as a government.
Yeah. And they're saying here, some nurses are telling me that their nurses, this government is just doing nonsense. The prison officers are speaking out, and the police service, they're speaking out, but the nurses at the geriatric are still owed hazard pay since 2020. So nobody has been paid. So you're telling me that none of the nurses, is it just the nurses, those who are listening at the those who are nurses, you're listening, it's just the nurses at geriatric that have not been paid this hazard pay since 2020? Or is it all the nurses?
There are nurses at the QEH that have not been paid for COVID either. I know that for a fact. Okay,
Wow.
I know that for a fact. I'm not
So
telling you
what is the
hearsay.
union doing? What? So you have prison officers. Barbados, listen up. I want you to listen up. This is the government that tells you that they care. You have prison officers that are owed up to $500,000. They probably owe another $500,000 to the police. What about the nurses?
Okay,
And
that's
all that
all.
is happening with money's being borrowed, and we're seeing money being spent, and we're not paying these
Yeah,
protective services. This is
because
ridiculous.
you just got another 75. You got another 92 million. You want to tell me that you can take half of that and just take care of your people? I mean, why are the sanitation authority workers striking? A key entity like that is striking because they're not being paid. I mean, these folk are risking their lives. Okay, let me say this. I was talking to a lady that works with the MTW on the road, and
Yes.
she was telling me, about the different things that they have. Some of them are now buying their own equipment to do the work.
Who's
So
this?
yeah, I was talking to a lady who works, with the MTW cleaning the roads and stuff like that.
That's what I'm asking. You're
Yeah,
serious?
yeah, I'm very serious. Okay, showed me her own stuff, her own cutlass, her own file, and all that. I said to the point. I said the shoes that you're wearing. I said, um, did they give those shoes to you, or did you buy them? She said, no, we have to buy our own shoes. I said, you're kidding me. You're working for, you should be wearing protective wear. Okay. I said, you need to talk to people about that. You need to talk to the individual about that. She told me when she did, they said, well, yeah, well, that's a good point, but we got to go to the top. So you're not taking care of your people. You're not even doing the things that are necessary. As a matter of fact, from one individual at a certain level there told me that one of the issues is that the government has not fulfilled its commitment to a number of the entities that supply them with equipment. So they're not getting any
Oh.
more equipment until those bills are sorted.
But hold a
Okay.
second, Apostle. Apostle, this is being in Jamaica. We would say this is like somebody running a patty shop. They're running the country. They're running the country as though somebody that is running a little corner shop. You're telling me that based on what you're saying, that people who supply equipment, why these MTW workers have to be buying their own equipment because the government has not been paying? They have
Yeah,
not been paying their bills, and so
yeah,
therefore the
they're
suppliers don't want to supply them anymore. What
exactly.
is this? Where do we live? What's going
Yeah,
on here?
that was pretty shocking. When I heard that. Um, Pretty shocking when I heard that because it tells us that this administration is only very good at borrowing, but it's not good at paying.
You're right, because they are. But I love that they are borrowing. But look, our police, the
They're horrible
police,
payers.
the
They're horrible
teachers.
payers.
Isn't there a pay there for the teachers? The term limits. Is it what's it called again, Apostle? The teachers, Mr. What's his name, Bob? If you're listening, and you can tell me what is it they owe the teachers. It's
Okay.
not term. It's a term.
Term leave.
Term leave.
Right. Okay.
Term leave. Yes, I said it wrong.
Yes.
Term leave. That it is designated by law, but that this government is refused.
Yeah.
Is refused
Yep.
to give it to the teachers. So you are oppressing the teachers, the police service,
Right.
the prison service, the nurses. Oh my goodness. What is
And
happening here?
I'm going to tell you one particular information from one particular nurse that I spoke with during COVID, who told me that um, in relation to what was happening at the hospital, and told me that there were several of the nurses at the time, that they told them that they had contracted COVID and they were not allowed to go home. Nurses that were not allowed to go home to their families and to their children. They had to stay in the hospital for 2 weeks. That information was hidden. A lot of them that were supposed to be paid for taking care of the nurses at the hospital during COVID, they haven't gotten their monies either. So, and this is information that I know firsthand, not hearsay. I know this firsthand.
Yeah,
So,
Dave, hurry and move this off the screen. It's page 4. We're going. I don't want to be advertising this. I'm sorry.
right,
Page 4. Page
right.
4 of the same thing, but just move the cursor down a bit to 4.
Yeah.
Thank you so
So,
much. Yeah, I'm
so
sorry.
this administration is a fantastic borrower, and the Bible reminds us that the borrower is a servant to the lender.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're seeing this
That
on a daily basis, where they know where they want to put monies to make them look good, but not monies to make sure that those people who provide the necessary services in Barbados are adequately taken care of. So
Yeah.
it's a very unfortunate situation at the moment.
Yes. Let me just read this. That is an article in Barbados Today. Okay. I'm reading an article for Barbados Today. And it says, in every modern society, there are professions that hold up the pillars of public life. Nurses, like we were talking about, police officers, soldiers, and fire officers are the workers who show up not just when it is convenient, but especially when it is not. They are on the job during hurricanes, during crisis, and yes, on public holidays when most of us are at home relaxing or frolicking with family and friends. It is against this backdrop that the recent call by the Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados for fair and adequate compensation for protective services workers and nurses should not only be heard but acted on quickly and decisively. At the center of C2SAB's demand is a simple principle of fairness. C2SAB is calling for double time pay for nurses and members of the protective services who work on the nation's 12 statutory public holidays. This request is not radical. It is not outrageous. It is rooted in common sense and basic labor rights, and it is already something most other workers receive. Presently, these essential public officers are compensated with time off in lieu for working on public holidays. In theory, this may seem like an acceptable arrangement. However, in practice, it is inadequate. As C2SAB President Ryan Phillips rightly noted, due to chronic staffing shortages, the 24/7 nature of essential services, these lieu days are often delayed, denied, or taken under duress. The result is that many nurses and protective services, the police, the prison services, the soldiers, etc., personnel, they end up effectively working holidays without receiving any real compensation. This is not only demoralizing, but it is also unjust. Let me read that. It's not from the apostle or myself. This is not only demoralizing, but it's also unjust, and that is why, apostle, this is one of the areas that we are going to be marching on September 6th, next week, Saturday. It's not just the bills. We are going to march on these issues concerning the protective services and our teachers in Barbados. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, this administration is absolutely unfair to the way that these services and service persons are treated, and that stems from the fact that they have demonstrated that Barbadians and developing a system to keep your people happy and to follow through on your promises. They're not very good at doing that. So we're going to see more of this happening. We're going to see more broken promises from this administration, because not only are we seeing it at the level of the leadership, but we're also seeing it at the level of those who work within that administration. And you don't seem to have any person within that administration to come to the public or to have a press conference. You notice you have a government where nobody else can have a single press conference by themselves. The AG, you know, can't seem to have a press conference. Everybody else has to be monitored and scripted and all these different things. And nobody seems to say, look, I can't be a part of an administration that demonstrates that we are liars. We can consistently stand in front of the people and lie. Um, you know, I don't seem to have the backbone to say, no, these people need to be helped. We are borrowing millions upon millions of dollars, consistently. And yet we can't find $500,000 to take care of these individuals who've done their work already, done, human service, because we didn't see any of the politicians out there, at night, doing the work. We didn't see them, like all of them went into hiding. But now those individuals who went up there and did the work and were promised that they were going to be paid. Why? This is 2025. Some of them were to be paid since 2020. Why is it that can you understand, 5 years later, you're still in a position where you have not fulfilled your promise to these individuals? Something is wrong, really seriously wrong with this administration. Really
Very
seriously wrong.
wrong, very wrong. When you go up and you see, I mean, they created this Curry Festa village, Apostle.
Mhm.
And I went up there last night because we went to see the Bahamians at Curry Festa. And
Right,
this thing, when you see the tents and I mean, I can't even describe it. You need to go there and see. I mean, what they did on the floor, they asphalted.
yep,
They put down asphalt. They cut down trees. All right, they cut down
right,
trees. They put up asphalt. They put down asphalt. They also put down tiling. They put down fake grass. These
right,
tents that are beautiful. And you wonder why is this set up in the middle of nowhere? What is
right,
going on? Can
right.
somebody tell us what is going on in Barbados? And you have police service not paid. Their hazard pay. Nurses not paid their hazard pay. Police service, prison officers not paid the pay they were supposed to get during COVID.
Yeah.
Teachers not getting their long leave.
Hmm. Yeah, because it's all an attempt from this administration to look impressive in the public's eye. But and it's one of the reasons why, again, they didn't allow your march. Okay, because they don't want people coming here asking, why are these people marching? What's the reason behind these people marching? And then they're going online to find out, why are people marching through the streets of Bridgetown? Why are they talking so much? What is going on in Barbados? They don't want this administration just wants Barbados to look impressive, and once Barbados looks impressive, they think that the world sees them as impressive. Now, you have to take care behind the backdrop of all of this Carrie Festa Village and all of these events that you have going on. The backdrop of this is that this is an administration that does not take care of its people. It consistently lies. It consistently makes promises and don't fulfill their promises. It's an administration that just cannot keep its word. Okay, so we're going to see all of this hype. We're going to see a lot of fanfare. We're going to see all of this prestigious activity going on. But where the rubber hits the road, you're going to see that they have no real link. They have no real connection with the very people who are making sure that Barbados is safe and up to standard in terms of healthcare and protective services. You're going to see that they do not have a proper system of compensation to these individuals who are doing what's necessary to make Barbados better and competent on a daily basis.
Correct, and this is why, Apostle, we are we're doing the march, and I know you're coming out as well on September 6th. right? Once again, Dave, we don't want to announce that. Careful there on the thing. You know, we just what I want to say is that on Saturday at 10 o'clock, we are going out there in the hot sun on behalf of the police service. We were going to go out on behalf of the prison service, the prisoners. We're going not the prisoners, or the prison officers, because they can't protest.
Yeah,
They can't protest. We're going
yeah,
out there on behalf of the nurses.
yeah.
Yeah, we're
We
going
understand
out
that.
there on behalf of the teachers.
Yeah, we understand that because the moment that they protest, their names are going to be selected, and you know what's going to happen next. Okay.
Correct.
Even Mr. Bob experienced that, so I can tell you, the level of vindictive activity that uh, comes out of this current administration is horrendous. And you know, to be in an environment where you can, I mean, these are people that need to be paid. Though I mean, it's not that they're begging for their money; they deserve to have their money. You know, and I think we have to make a clear message, send a very clear message to this administration: not just pay these people, but pay them now. Okay, not just pay them now. That's the message that we
Pay
need to
them
send
now.
to them.
That's what we are saying on the 6th. Pay them now.
Yes.
Listen to me. Listen to me. You know, we started our topic tonight. Your freedom is voice activated. Nurses, start to say, pay me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Prison, the police service, police. We
Yeah.
are looking to you to help us with the crime, and we're not paying you properly.
Come on.
You're not getting any pay for holidays. You work, and you're going to tell me you don't get any pay. I'm not
Yeah.
even being told that police are not even covered. They don't have an insurance by the state to cover
Yeah.
the police. What kind of madness?
Yeah.
What kind of madness is this?
We need to have a system, Madam Weeks. We need to have a system of uh, either pay before the event or pay within 3 days to a week after the event. Okay, that system has to be developed so that that check does not go into the salary. It is a separate payment. Okay, because the work that is being required is a separate work. Okay, it is not a part of their regular, you know, job description. So I think it's critical that a new system be developed where the government can formulate a department that compensates their you know, the police and the nurses and those individuals when they have functioned um, you know, on levels. For instance, even after Curry Festa, you know, there's going to be a lot more garbage on locations
Right.
than normal, and people have to go in there and do the cleaning. You know, when I spoke to that lady who works for the you know, the NCC, no, I think it's the MTW that she works with. Um, she began to explain to me that there are things that they encounter when they're cleaning the roads that are very unsanitary, you know. And you know, I began to ask some questions about, you know, the work ethics, and I even asked them about insurance. Okay, because it is my belief, as I said to her, the kind of work that you're doing, you should have some type of health insurance or medical insurance. Okay, um, and our police officers don't have medical insurance. Okay, that is something that they have to get on their own, and that is ridiculous
I
for
don't
government.
understand that. I don't
No, no,
understand
no,
that.
no. I'm telling you, I spoke to a senior, okay, a senior ranking police officer here in Barbados. They don't have medical insurance. The government does not provide medical insurance for them. They have to get it on their own. These folk that we see that are working here, and they outline, I mean, she outlined to me a number of, you know, unsanitary things that has happened, you know, when people are, um, you know, like the guys are using the weed whackers and stuff like that. You know, there are things in the grass, and sometimes it's affected them when, you know, they hit certain bags that are filled with different things that are in them that ends up, you know, coming into people's faces and their bodies and on their clothing and stuff like that. You know, they're being exposed to those things. And I said, you guys don't have medical insurance, you don't have health insurance. I mean, it doesn't have to be huge coverage, just probably a $50,000 coverage where you can probably take $100 or $50 or $75 out of their monies on a monthly basis. But they don't have those things. Our police men do not have life insurance.